Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking the Riverdale episode Quiz Show. And if you're wondering what's up with the hat, well, I'll show you. Yeah, I tried a new haircut today that didn't go so well. This is what happens when you decide to try to save some money by cutting your own hair. Actually, it worked pretty good when I was doing the sides. But I just could not for the life of me get it even on the top. So I kind of like had these strands that made me kind of look like Doc Brown from the Back to the Future if he had like those pointy sides here instead of off to the sides. So I said, well, screw it. Why don't I just go for a buzz cut, let it grow back, and kind of keep it even from there. Just once it gets to a length that I like. And, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but buyer's remorse, you know? Anyway, it's not too fun looking at my reflection right now, or the image of my face in this camera, so sorry, you're just going to have to deal with me wearing this silly hat for a little while until my hair grows out to a less embarrassing degree. Of course, the receding hairline and the bold patch I've developed in the back, thanks Dad's DNA, not exactly helping the situation. But let's get to it. And speaking of parents not helping the situation, oh boy, where to begin here? Well, might as well start with Alice. Here, this is one of those times where it's a little hard not to take Alice's side because, Betty was unfairly discriminated against because of who her dad was. So Alice doing some chicanery to try and even the score, alright, I can kind of understand that. I don't approve of cheating, but, when the deck is unfairly stacked against you, you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's true if it's someone you care about. Of course, this being television, this all has to spectacularly backfire, because that's the rule of drama. Still, good stuff though. It's kind of nice to see that there is this real, I know you were trying to do the right thing and I appreciate it, between Betty and her mom. So, considering how wildly they were at each other's throats not so long ago, in case a little bit too literally, well, the whole time Alice tried to kill Betty, it's nice progress. And I also did like that there was some real back and forth in Betty and Jughead's relationship. The idea that Jughead would exploit what happened with her dad to try and further his own career, albeit reluctantly, yeah, that's a legitimate source of tension, but they did overcome that in a way that felt real and worked. Like in the stuff with Veronica and Cheryl working together, the two of them are rather cut from similar cloth. And I love that bit where Cheryl points out, yeah, my mom's a murderer, so's my dad, so's Betty's dad, so's your father. And Veronica just kind of has to go, oh, yeah, okay, that's a fair point. Hiram coming in there and, really making a big show out of smashing that liquor all 1920s style. Amusing, but him going I'm the Grand Master. Well, why did you get thrown in jail twice? And, almost have your criminal empire crumble and probably that's what would have happened if a high school kid hadn't intervened. A high school kid that you were, despite being the Grand Master, unable to kill despite multiple attempts to do so. I really, really wish somebody would point this out to Hiram. But, I mean, Veronica would be the perfect person to do it. But, you gotta make Hiram out to be the big threat. Yeah, it's, Hiram at this point has gotten to be one of the more ridiculous aspects of the show. And on Riverdale, that's really saying something. What they choose to do with Penelope is also pretty ridiculous. The people that were hanging out at that bordello are going to recognize her voice. I mean, it's just ridiculous that they're trying this. But then again, I guess if they reported that, they'd have to admit they were in a bordello. Of course, there's the whole anonymous thing to the police, but can't put throw too much logic at Riverdale. Nothing particular to say about Brett this episode. He's the same kind of guy that he's always been. I do like that he and Jughead finally had like a real, all right, man, enough of your BS. Let's settle this once and for all kind of thing. That whole bit with him going like, yeah, this is what our society is about. Win no matter what it takes. Well, clearly that's going to bite Brett in the end. In the butt in the end. I mean, that's just begging for Jughead to wave that in his face at some point in the future. But we'll see. Kevin, why can you not stop making bad decisions, especially when they're almost always connected to you, wanting to get laid? I mean, here it's kind of money and stuff, but still, it's just, oh, Kevin, come on. I really wish they could find something for Kevin as a character to do other than screw up. Let's see. The conflict between Archie and his uncle and Mr. Keller, that's all good stuff. You can see that Archie's uncle that Frank is trying to do the right thing. He's just really bad at making thoughtful decisions. He doesn't really think things through very carefully. And that whole bit where he admits, like, I don't want to have to ask a teenager for a loan. Oh, okay, I understand where he's coming from on that one. But when you're in a boat like that, well, let me put it this way. My personal philosophy is that there is no more luxury. No luxury is more expensive than that of pride. And when I say that, it is important to distinguish between pride and self-respect. Pride is rooted in other people's opinion of you. Self-respect is rooted in your own opinion about yourself. And the thing about other people's opinion of you is that 90% of the people in your life, their opinion of you is not going to matter the least little bit. Now, it's not to say that other people's opinions of you never matter. It's not to say that reputation is not sometimes important. You just have to be very careful about that. Reputation is, at the end of the day, nothing more than a tool. That's all it is. It can be a very useful tool at times, but it's nothing more than a tool. And it is, again, rooted in other people's opinions of you. And being beholden to that, and especially in modern society where it seems like so many people are almost enslaved to the opinions of others. I mean, just look at what social media is really all about in some situations. Yeah, but still, I do like that, Archie and Frank worked it out, and that, it kind of feels like Frank really is a guy who is trying. He's a guy who realizes he's made mistakes and is trying to overcome them. But, you stumble along the way whenever you try to do something new. There's just no escaping that. Yeah, I think that kind of covers everything that I had to say about this episode. Not a bad episode by any measure, but not an episode that really sets the world on fire. It's just kind of okay. We've got to move things along until we get towards the really interesting stuff. Okay, fair enough. You got to lay track if you want to get to a destination. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you this time. Until next time, take care and have a good one.